What's up?
Hi, Muta.
Hey man, how's it going? I don't know everyone here but Max, but how's it all going? How's your guys' night? So you guys have been streaming for a bit?
Yes, sir. It's
Pretty
been a
good.
minute.
Doing
Yeah.
good, doing good.
So last time we talked, Max, I thought you had a video about this coming out, a concise documentary.
A comprehensive timeline. We released a short saying that as things have evolved, it's taking longer. Like I told you, more survivors and witnesses are coming forward and joining. And that's
Uh,
what's causing the delay.
Thought it was like a legal notice or something.
Illegal?
You guys are getting like legal and everything involved already, right? Like
Correct.
lawyers and law
We've already
enforcement.
spoken with a lawyer. They suggested we don't even pursue him civilly just because if he doesn't have substantial assets, there's no point in a civil suit. So he recommended that we all go in person to file a police report, and that will make them take us the most seriously because we've tried phone calls and I mean,
Phone calls to the law enforcement?
yes,
We recently
Okay.
called Baldwin County Sheriff's
Mhm.
Department, and I spoke to a sheriff's deputy, and even asked for an email so I could send them what evidence we do have. And
they weren't interested in
yeah,
even looking at it.
he was like, "Oh well, it didn't happen in our jurisdiction, so we can't do anything," even though
He resides in their jurisdiction.
yeah.
I thought you guys had like the feds or something involved too. I don't know. It's been a minute since we've covered this whole thing, but this has been, oh, like I heard a bit of the lyric stuff at the end of it, and you guys were discussing the whole concept of doxing and everything and all this stuff. And it was just like a matter of this whole story, it hasn't really properly been told yet to the mass public, you know what I mean?
Yes, we know.
Which like, and that's the big problem, right? It's like for people to come in here and like the thing is, it's like you're accusing somebody of really serious situations, right? Like this guy of really serious crimes. And I know that you believe you're in the right. And from a personal perspective, I know that you feel you have the evidence and you feel like you know what you're doing is the right thing. But the thing about it is like, if you want people to take this as seriously as you guys are taking it, you need to start providing that evidence to the public and provide like an actual story, you know? Like I've seen the evidence that you posted, and obviously there's an NDA signed, so I can't publicly discuss this with anyone. But I can say, obviously, it contains one side of the events, and obviously, my thing on screenshots is that unless I refresh something from a server myself, I never usually believe it or jump on the gun. Recently I covered scam situation where I had to pretty much dot my I's and cross my T's before I could even make the accusations, right? And obviously with a situation like this, look, I know that you know that there is something amiss here, right? Like with this Camden individual, I know you know, right? Like I know you from a personal level. I know that you believe this, and you're not doing this out of, I would say, malice. But I hope you understand that the way that this whole situation has been presented has actually hurt this case, unfortunately, because from the public perspective, it's like people have been sitting here for months now waiting for a definitive, not timeline, but like a definitive proof on this individual, and it's all just been a mess being presented. And I think it actually hurts the victims in the situation more than it actually is assisting them at this point. Last time we had a conversation weeks ago, me, you, and Nux, we had this discussion. It's like you gotta not do the streams, you gotta bunker down, get this entire video out. And the moment you present this individual in the light that the moment you present the story in a way that everyone can follow, victims will just naturally pour in. This isn't a situation where we got to sit down and wait for everyone to join together like a class action lawsuit. All this is doing is it's jumbling up the story and it's making people question you, and it's ultimately hurting the entire victims at the end of the day, which I don't want to see happen. You don't want to see happen. This story needs to be presented properly, and that's it at the end of the day. It's been over a month. It's been 2 months now, and it's just been a jumbled story. Like most of the people that are talking about this outside of this circle specifically, they don't even know Camden. They just have heard Black Vampire guy, but they don't know the real extent of what this person's done. They don't know they don't know anything about this cult. I still don't even know everything about this cult. We have no explanation of how this cult operates, how it gathers victims and what it does, its entire procedures and whatnot. Presenting this ringleader and how it works and how children are brought into the situation and how they're turned into these really, really dark fucking situations. That needs to be properly explained. I really feel like that has to be the thing. If I was in your shoes and this was my story, what I would do is I would present this cult, I would present Camden, and I would tell people, hey, listen, this is a guy that's done some really, really fucked up things. And we've got a few victims, and if you know this person, please come in. That kind of a video spreads naturally. I covered something not similar to this, but I covered another really bad guy years ago with a YouTuber known as Kavos about the Club Penguin situation. That was a scenario where we sat down, we grabbed evidence, and we presented a story. I made an hour-long video where it definitively went through the beginning, middle, and end, and it showcased how fucked up this individual was, and that reached out to people. Like, this is something that we kind of fucking need to see with this situation. Right now, we only know about the theatrics and the arguments around this situation. We don't know the cult. We don't even know everything about Camden, and we just have one account of the information. All this is doing is hurting the story, it's hurting the victims, and it's going to actually hurt a legal case. The law enforcement agencies, look, I get it. The law enforcement system fucking sucks a lot of the times. Okay, I get it. It sucks ass. But the reason why they're indifferent and they don't give a shit is because they don't have a story to also piece together. They don't know what to go into. They have a million cases to deal with. If you bring them black vampire cultist, they're gonna sit down and think, okay, where the fuck do we begin? And that's ultimately the situation. Look, I want to see this asshole fucking, if what you're saying is 100% true, I want to see this motherfucker behind bars. But there's a way to present this, there's a way to handle this before you get to that point, right? And that's what we need to be focusing on. That's like where everything needs to be centered on. It is where I'm at, and that's all I really can say about the situation.
Okay, so I would have really appreciated this like 2 months ago when we first reached out. I reached out to you and multiple other creators asking for help, and none of you were responsive. I understand y'all are busy and doing your own things, but this is the first time I've ever handled a case of this complexity and magnitude, and that is why I was asking for help.
But Max, me and Nux told you about this weeks ago, almost a month at this point. Exactly what I just said right now.
Right, and I am working at my platform is for the survivors, and if they want to stream, that is what we're going to do. We're going to stream. Yeah. I'm giving them my platform, and because it takes me like almost a year to make a video about even just one pedophile. Like I was looking for help so that someone could talk about this case in a way that, like the way you talk about your videos. I would have liked you to help me on this and just make even just a PSA saying, hey, there's this guy, Camden Gerard Davis. Please reach out if you are a survivor.
But see, okay, this is what we talked about though, like a month ago. It's like, if we're going to make a PSA and we're going to talk about it, we need to make sure the story is, I'm not saying 100% bulletproof. I don't live in that world, right? Like, obviously you can't have 100% evidence of something, but I'm saying very, 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 like, fucking very ironclad almost, as close as you can fucking get, right? And we talked about this a month ago. We were like, hey, listen, we got to make a story. We got to make a hour-long something video, whatever, in your style. Because if you want to provide your platform to the victims, your platform isn't built upon live streaming like this. Your platform is built upon hard-hitting videos that present the story, albeit in a very flashy way. But you have to present that story first. And then naturally, the rest of YouTube and the rest of the internet community will come together and view your video and say, oh my God, I get this. That's how you get the victims on your side. I can't sit there and say, let's make a PSA. There's this bad guy. Hey, come together. Let's go after him. Look, what this sounds like, it's like a class action lawsuit, right? Like, hey, this person's done something wrong. Please come together. I mean, recently Logan Paul had that CryptoZoo shit. I mean, not recently, but with Logan Paul's CryptoZoo, if Attorney Tom came out and said, hey guys, this asshole scammed everyone, join our class action lawsuit. That's not going to be his video. His video is still going to go through beginning, middle, end, and describe exactly why they're suing Logan Paul, what the scam was. They're going to describe this, and then they'll say, hey, listen, at the end of it, we're going after this person legally. Join up. You still have to present the story from beginning, middle, and end. Then you can ask for a PSA. Then you can get people in. And we talked about this a month ago, and that's all that you can. It still can be fixed, right? Like, all you can do is, like, again, hunker down, spend a week, 2 weeks, a month, honestly. I mean, right now it's YouTube down season, really. All you have to do is craft this video from beginning, middle, and end, and I promise you, it'll attract attention. It'll grab victims that would never even have heard of your channel, and they will come together and they will join this case, and that's how you do it. That's the end goal here. That's the path to victory, I would say.
I agree with you.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah. Please.
Sorry, Muta, I know I'm a nobody. I just wanted to say one thing. Like, dude, you are like the fucking master of taking a fucking really complex topic and like making it digestible for regular like people, and that is fucking, dude. You, like, I love your videos. Like, I watch them all the time.
Thank
but
you.
like, anyway, I just wanted to say, like, Max is just a different kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like, he makes like arts. He wants to make movies and shit, and like you can see that he's not like the master of like figuring out how to get this case out there and all of that. And like he's very aware of that. That's why he's saying like, please, anyone and everyone, just help me. Like, help me figure out how to tell this story the right way and all
Well, I
that
mean,
shit.
I don't think that Max is incapable of telling the story in the same way. I think Max, if you've got the evidence, you've got everything right there, you can still produce a story where you start off in your typical fashion and you tell people, hey, listen, we're going to talk about cults. We're going to talk about, people that run cults, the psychology they go through. We go talk about Camden, and then we bring up victims, and that's all we have to do at the end of the day. You can present it in your style, but again, it's just you got to amalgamate all the evidence, and all you have to do is explain again in your style. You start the video off, you talk about a cult, you talk about where this cult is, you talk about what it is, you talk about Camden, and then you talk about the victims, and that's it. And the thing about it is like instead of making matter of fact statements like I'm going to call this guy a pedophile or everything, it's like what you have to do is you have to present the story, and you just tell the audience is like, hey, listen, I've given you everything. Now it's time for you to come to your own conclusion. And if there's somebody that recognizes this cult leader that I've talked about, please come forward, get in touch with us because we have a legal action taking in. That's it. Like right now, the public perception is they have no idea what this is. All they see is the fights that you're having with other people, and that's it. I want you to succeed in this mission. I want you to take this guy down. But sitting here and screaming about this isn't really going to help the situation. What you need is you need to present the story, then scream all you want afterwards. Once you got that video out and once it's spreading around and reaching to victims, that's all that matters. You know?
Max, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You said you can't present evidence because the lawyer, right? The lawyer's advice is not to present anything.
We are protecting the evidence until law enforcement has done something or shown that they're not going to do anything. Okay. That is why we're holding on to everything. And like I said, as this case has evolved, this video is getting longer and longer and more complex. Right now, our priority has been to trying to find all of the survivors, which is why I want to make a PSA so we can even have the full story in the first place. Because right now we only have 8, and I know that's a lot of survivors, but we still only have 8 out of hundreds that were part of this. And
but you have enough to definitively paint this person as a predator, right?
How much are you looking for? Is there like a number, or just is there a time limit where you're saying, okay, this is enough, we're going to go to the police now?
I interject.
Yes.
Yep.
Please.
I think that right now, because we did just get a survivor who got out like 9 months ago, I think that we have a pretty close timeline, and I think even if we only have 8 survivors, that all of us would make a fine documentary until, like, we can always make a second and third part. YouTube videos can do that, but I think coming out with maybe like a part 1 and being like, this is what we have right now, would be a really good idea.
I agree, but that's a little bit of why we're streaming, is that these are parts of the greater picture. Like, I'm allowing y'all to speak on my platform to be able to give your accounting.
I gotta head out in a little bit, but I just want to say before the end of all this is like, listen, I just want to ask, do you have enough to call this guy and present him as a predator?
Sorry, was that a question, or you were?
Yeah. I was asking. Do you personally have enough to call this person a, like, already you've been calling him a predator? That means you have enough testimony, evidence at the moment to present him as a predator in a pretty bulletproof fashion to the public, right? I'm not talking about the court of law. Then that's the part 1 you need. That's what you got to have. That's what you should produce, and that's what you should release first off, because that's the most important part in presenting a story. You have enough already. Present that, the victims will come. And then you can follow up with the full story as it develops. But right now, the story needs to be presented in a proper way that will absolutely seal the deal with the mass public. And as far as doxing goes, here's my personal thing, right? Like, I really don't think anybody should be making matter-of-fact statements about somebody being a pedophile unless they have that story that can 100% prove it, right? Like, the accusation needs to be out there. Because, again, that's one of the things that people are calling you out on, is like, you're calling this person a predator. Now it's time for you to present actual evidence that he is a full predator. That's exactly what I would be doing to anybody else.
You don't think we should protect that first to see if the police are going to do anything?
I mean, what you have right now, is it going to be something that like, what is the evidence, do you believe, is going to be invalidated the moment you release it out in the public, like a message or something?
Correct. Is that not the case?
I mean, your lawyer should be the one discussing it. What did your lawyer say?
I mean, they said first thing we should do is all go to Georgia and make an accounting, but that's going to take a little bit of time just because we have to get all of the survivors on board and a date and time to do it.
I would say sit down with your lawyer again, because I've never heard any lawyer that would say that to me. Like, hey, if you present this message, it's going to be invalidated, right? Like, You know, I literally released an entire call that I had with somebody just because they were threatening lawsuits against me just because of how the situation was publicly presented. That doesn't mean that that call is going to be invalidated, right? Even based on technicalities, you can always take things to court the way that things are presented. So I would definitely confer with the lawyer again. There is no reason why you shouldn't be able to present that. Absolutely. And if your lawyer is telling you one thing, definitely talk to another lawyer, get a second opinion for sure. The lawyers are like doctors, okay? They're all going to give you fucking different things. So definitely confer with another lawyer that has more to do with these specific cases. Because hey, law enforcement, we can't sit here and wait for a law enforcement agency to jump in. However, if this becomes a matter of public debate, a matter of public, interest, then law enforcement's going to take a look at it, whether they want to or not. That's it.
I'll do that.
Anyways, yeah, it's been good talking to you, man. I'll head out. Take care.
Thank you, Muta.
Yeah, night.
To those of you who are saying I was putting the blame on Muta, I'm not. But I do acknowledge that I need help with this case. That was my point. And dude, right? I always appreciate being able to speak with him. I agree. We'll consult with. I mean, I already have a phone call with another lawyer scheduled for this Monday. But yeah, as far as we were told, we were to keep the evidence protected until something definitively is done, and then if nothing is definitively done, then that's the time to release it.
It's a weird moving goalpost because the police have been contacted so many times.
Rocco says, now talk to Xylee. We are down to talk to Xylee. We are down to talk to whoever.